I have personally spent many years working in the corporate world, and I spent 4 years studying economics and at university. I've seen firsthand the middle class habits that keep people in the rat race. That those habits keep them tied to a job that they don't like just to sustain their lifestyle, whilst their greater life goals and ambitions are placed in the background. So in this video, I would like to walk you through what these habits are and how you can avoid them. The first habit people have is working for less than their worth. And this is one of the biggest mistakes people make. It is common for employers to pay their employees less than what they deserve. And they would pay their employees just the amount so that they don't quit. They would pay their employees the least amount so that they don't quit, and just enough so that they can survive. There are a lot of employees out there that don't get promotions at all, and even if they do get a promotion, it is something insulting like 3% or 4%, considerably which is considerably less than the rate of inflation. So essentially, despite being loyal to a company, despite having worked at that company for many, many years, you are essentially getting paid less than what you did the year before. And then when you leave the organization, they try to hire somebody else, they realize that they need to increase the rate of pay so that someone would be willing to work for them. A middle class habit is just to accept the way it is and accepting the fact that they're being underpaid because it is comfortable. People don't like switching jobs. People don't like the fact that they have to network with other people. They have to go out there and present themselves to the world. They like the comfort of being paid X amount on X day, no matter what. But this habit really keeps you in a cycle because finding a job elsewhere can actually be the best decision you can make when it comes to getting out of the rat race. A more typical pay increase when you move between organizations is 10 to 20%, which is far higher than the 3 to 4% you would have got if you stayed at that company. And if you are working hard and putting your soul into something and you feel like you're getting underpaid, it is okay to leave and go to the competitor. So I would say network, learn new knowledge about other industries, and go find out what the market is paying for your role, and have that conversation with other people. I think this would be the best way to move forward and get ahead. And the second bad habit that keeps a middle class person in middle class is buying more than what they can afford. When people get their first full-time job, they get a promotion or they get a bonus, they tend to upgrade two things. The first thing is their car, because even if they don't have the money to buy a brand new car, even if you don't have the money to buy it in full, you can still afford the lease payments, the monthly repayments. And of course, this is structured in a way to make you buy a more expensive car than you can afford. It is also the number one wealth killer because a car doesn't give you anything. It will keep you working your day job to pay off the loan as long as you let. It will keep you working to pay off the loan. So what you want to do instead is either buy a car outright if you have the money for it, or make sure your car finance payment is within the recommended guidelines. I would say a good rule of thumb is to never spend more than 15% of your annual income towards your car. So if your annual income is 60,000, you would aim to spend no more than $9,000 per year on a car. And that amount should include the car payment, insurance, maintenance, and other associated expenses. And the second thing people would look to upgrade is their home, because again, banks would lend you 4 or 5 times your salary to purchase your house. So even with a marginal increase in your salary, you can afford a lot more. So even with a marginal increase in your salary, you can buy a much more expensive home. But you don't want to buy a home that's more expensive than you can afford. I think a good rule of thumb here and the general guideline is that you don't want to be spending more than 28% of your income on mortgage payments. And that 28% is your gross income. So it's the income before tax. The third mistake people make to keep them trapped in the rat race is relying on just one source of income. If anything, if you have learned anything from the last few years, the COVID years, it is that relying on one source of income is extremely risky. The COVID pandemic caused millions of people to get laid off, and we're seeing the same happening again with more and more layoffs being announced. And by just having one source of income, you are one incident away from losing your livelihood. And also by doing this, by only having one source of income, by only relying on your day job, you are putting your entire livelihood and financial responsibility in the hands of your employer. And I would say that is a super risky position to be in. So in order to break free from the rat race, I think you need to diversify your income streams. Whether it's get a second job, whether it's babysitting, being an Uber driver, starting an online business, or investing in some cash generating assets like the stock market or real estate. I think that would give you, and giving your employers the power to control your finance is an extremely risky position to be in. And the fourth mistake is ignoring the importance of saving for old age. And when people are young, they have the delusion that they will be young forever. But that is certainly not the case. Imagine if you were walking on a street and you dropped $50 because you had a hole in your purse. And then the same thing happened again. A lot of people don't realize the importance of investing. It is like having a hole in your pocket. You lose $50 a day, you lose $50 another day. And investing in something is really something you should do yesterday. It is that important. And by holding back on investing, every day we are essentially losing out on the ability to let that money compound, let that money grow. You're not going to get rich by renting out your time, by selling your time. You must own equity, which is a piece of a business, to gain your financial freedom. If you don't know where to begin, then two that you can start with are index funds and a target date fund. If you don't know where to begin, then I would say starting with an index fund, putting maybe 10% of your income every month into an index fund. And the sooner you put your money down for retirement, the better off you will be in the future. And the next mistake I see people make is they don't understand the difference between consumption and production. We all say that money comes and goes. That is a relation that we often look at money, that we often look at in terms of income and expenses. I think another way to look at this is looking at money in terms of production and consumption. Money will come into your life because you have produced some sort of value. And for the majority of us, the value comes in the form of labor, a job. Money will leave when you have consumed something. If you have a house, a car, your Netflix subscription. In a way, we can look at the financial position of an individual by determining their relationship between consumption and production. And for a lot of people, that relationship is negative. A lot of people are in debt. Money is leaving quickly than they are coming in. So you want to recognize how this is impacting your financial position, start to act on it, whether it is by reducing your consumption or by getting another stream of income. And number 6, we have ignoring financial literacy. And financial mastery has a huge impact on our lives, whether we like to admit it or not. We put so much importance on our well-being, our mental well-being, our physical well-being, and it is important. Those things are important, but we put so little attention on our financial well-being. And our financial well-being also plays an equally important role in our enjoyment in life. When you are in your 20s, you might have the excuse of busy living life. You are dating, you are seeing new places, you are having expensive items. And because you don't have that much money to begin with, the consequences of our lack of financial literacy are actually very limited when you are in your 20s. But if you carry that mindset through. But if you carry that mindset through with us into our 30s and into our 40s, and if you don't start developing your knowledge base of financial literacy, but if we carry that mindset through with us to our 30s and to our 40s and don't bother developing our knowledge base of financial literacy, it will become harder and harder to undo some of the bad habits. And this will have consequences through to the rest of our lives. There are some basic things you should understand. You should understand tax rules. You should understand what your income and expenses are. You should know how to get the most value out of your money. This isn't taught at school, so it is up to us to learn about it. And if you want to learn more money, and just by putting it off and ignoring this and not wanting to learn about it, we are staying in place where you keep working for money. You keep selling your time for money. And the last and final mistake, and the seventh and the final mistake I see people make, is doing what everybody else is doing. In today's society, we are really under pressure to spend, and we have to do everything we can to fit into other people's expectations. This applies to everyone, whatever your income level is. I've worked with people who are making a lot of money, way into the six figures, but they're still living paycheck to paycheck because they are spending every single penny they make as soon as they come in to impress and to look rich. And they want to show everybody else how rich they are instead of actually being rich and building wealth. If we are spending on clothes and bags just because we enjoy it or just because it brings us happiness, then that is one thing. Because I've got no issue with spending on things that brings you happiness and joy, but spending on things that keep up with just with the purpose to keep up with everybody else around you, and buying things just to post them on social media to show everyone else that you are to show everybody else how rich you are, and the fact that you can afford these things, that is another thing altogether. And this is what keeps the middle class in a never-ending cycle. It is a status-driven society, but you want to find why you are making money and why you are working hard. What do you want to achieve, and how do you want your life to look like? Whether it's to travel business class everywhere or quit your job and never see your boss again, as long as it's in line with what your value is and it's not dictated by somebody else, that is what will get you out of the rat race. The rat race isn't about working a 9 to 5 job. It is about living life on such an edge where you are always comparing yourself with others, and you are always chasing the next thing, whether it's a paycheck or a material possession or that nice house or a luxury car. And whenever your greater life ambitions are placed in the background, and whenever your life goals are placed in the background just to chase things to impress other people, I think that is what really traps you in the rat race. In this day and age, having one source of income isn't just enough. We have high interest rates, we have high inflation, the layoff rate is going through the roof. Even in industries that have experienced prosperity, like the tech industry, where people were making six figures easily, some of the top tech companies like Salesforce and Microsoft and Apple, they were actually firing people because they couldn't afford the high expenses associated with employing people. Yet on the other hand, we are seeing more and more people going online, more and more small businesses going online to promote their goods and services. In fact, I have seen very, very young people making well over 8 figures a year doing e-commerce and learning to build their wealth. And this trend is going to continue. This shift to online trend is going to continue. It is not going to slow down anytime soon. And just like anybody else, and just like everybody else, many people don't like to be left behind. They don't want to be left behind the trend. Even in traditional industries, even in the corporate world, we're seeing a shift to working from home. People are getting more and more time, more and more free time to themselves because they don't have to commute to the office, and they will have more times to themselves to start a business or doing a side hustle. Doing e-commerce online has been a very, very popular choice for people who wants to earn a second income beside their day job. And one of the most prominent challenges I've seen people doing e-commerce have is trying to find is not finding the correct product, but to find a manufacturer, is finding a reliable manufacturer that would make their products to the right specification. So in today's video, so in the description box below, I've provided a link for you to download a free guide on how to select a reliable supplier for your product idea. In the guide, you would be able to find out the 5 most important tips I've learned about qualities of a reliable supplier, of a reliable manufacturer. Alternatively, you can book a call with me to discuss how you would like would like me to help you start your own side hustle and getting out of the rat race quicker. I used to work in the corporate space as well, but it was only after I realized the importance of doing social media and getting yourself promoted online. But later I learned the importance of getting yourself out there on the internet and exposing your goods and services to the world and getting people to know about your products and getting people to know about your goods and services, because I understand a lot of people have very good services, they have very good products, and they think just by doing improving their goods and services, people would come to them, and they are often left in disappointment because that is not the case. And in the past, I have helped a lot of small business owners gain traffic and helping them promote their goods and services, helping them promote their products. If you would also like to learn more about how you can scale up your business and how to gain more traffic, you can click the link in the description box below to book a free consultation with me to discuss about it. I'll see you in the next video.